we're two millennials, and we're.
Well, you see, I don't like that. You called me that last week, and I fucking lost sleep over it.
Why?
Are we not like Gen X, like somewhere in there?
Absolutely. I might be bordering on Gen X. You're a little bit younger.
Yeah, but you're a year younger than I am. But like they're talking about moving that number up because
That's silly, man. Why not just own it?
Same. But we don't
Listen,
have the
let
same.
me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Millennial coming of age during the millennium. Yep. How old were you in the year 2000?
17.
17, 18. That's coming of age.
But what happens, Adam, and it pisses me off, is that the millennials are a weaker group. They're considered
only in the eyes of boomers. Those of us that are millennials say, fuck you. So what I'm saying, and what I've been trying to say to other millennials is, don't try to, I'm not a millennial, I'm this, that, and the other thing. Stand up for yourself. Say, hey, we are millennials, and fuck you for trying to paint us as weaker. We've gone through September 11th, economic crashes. We've gone through fucking pandemics. This is the plight.
We've gone through the fucking Obamas, the Clintons, motherfuckers.
Well, sure, but this is the plight that we've had to go through. We've had economic downfall. People say we're overeducated and underemployed. That's because you have to have an education to get a job in this economy that the boomers have created. And we, despite getting these educations, still can't get good jobs because the boomers won't hire us.
No, the boomers won't fucking retire.
Yeah,
they're like fucking 85. I can't retire. Dick, you got $5 million in the fucking bank. Call it a career before I end you old bastard.
Yeah. So they're saying that us millennials, that we're lazy, we don't want to get jobs. We've all tried to get jobs. I know you, I've always tried to have a job. It's been hard.
Hey man, me too. Oh, absolutely, man. I've changed careers. Mm-hmm. I've gone back. I've gone forwards. It's fucking impossible. Hey, I bought a house. You bought a house years ago. Yeah. I just bought a house.
Yeah.
The price difference between our houses is ridiculously crazy, right?
You can thank the boomers for that.
Oh shit. And instead of spending their money in building houses, the boomers, here's the problem down here. I don't know how it is up there. The boomers down here are building these fucking houses because they got money to spend. They're building these $1 million homes. And then guys like us can't afford to buy them. So when they want to downsize because they're too fucking old, they're like, I'm stuck with a $4 million house. What the fuck? You're like, because you built it too big, you dummy.
So here's what I'm saying. I hope that I've made a connection with you here on this. Is we are millennials. The number is, some people say 1982, some people say 1980 is the cutoff between Gen X and millennials. We're not Gen Xers. We're not.
No, we're not. No. So are you saying that as millennials, we must be the voice and take back the weakness?
That's what I'm saying is I would love it if this show was a voice for the millennials to be proud of themselves. Like that.
Done.
We have two very different, and we're both millennials, but we're two very different perspectives, two very different people. We've got opposite ends of that spectrum from two millennials, so
who grew up with each other.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck that happens, but it does. That's exactly what happens.
But what I'm saying is, it bothers me when I see people who are millennials that, because we've been bullied, let's face it, we've been bullied by these other generations. It's cool to make fun of millennials. It's cool. Rather than saying, hey, fuck you, we're not going to take it. They go, well, I'm a zillennial. I'm a this, that, or the, I'm actually a Gen Xer. Even though I was born this year, I more identify with that. I mean, I think I listened to Nirvana, but I was like 10 or 12 years old when Kurt Cobain killed himself. I wasn't like a 20-year-old, so.
Yeah, no, I like Kurt Cobain because I had older influences. His cousins, like my cousins when I was younger, I had more connection with Kurt Cobain. But
the Gen Xers, were the people that raised us. So we did appreciate the music of the generation of Gen Xers.
Yeah.
However, we are millennials, and I'm comfortable owning that. I know that I'm going to take some criticism by other generations, but I've got arguments against that criticism. And rather than running away from the criticism, I like to stand up for it. I hope that you do too.
Hey man, I'll punch a boomer in the mouth. I don't care. You know that.
There we go. So there we go. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
You know what? Maybe now I'm going to own it. Maybe I'm going to get me a little millennial shirt or something and just say, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I'm not going to use the boomer term. I'm just going to break hips. And then you'll know you're a boomer.
This is an interesting conversation. I have felt that millennials they say this greatest generation is the generation that raised our parents, and maybe, but I think that we're in that conversation too. We have, the moment we turned 18, September 11th has happened in our entire adult life. We've had to fight a war that really wasn't our war, but we've fought it our entire adult life. We've had pandemics, we've had economic crashes because of other generations that are pulling the strings that we have to suffer through. And we've done it. We've rose to the occasion in all of these situations.
And to be honest, we've seen inflation more than any other generation. We've seen the most inflation. When you first got your driver's license at 16, price of gas 49.50 cents. Now price of gas $1.35, right? We still have benefits though. We grew up with the internet. We grew up with the 64. We grew up with the Attitude Era. So really, honestly, like we did okay. I'm not complaining. We did okay.
Well, another telltale sign of millennials is that we're the generation that knows more about technology than the other generations. Instead of them teaching us about these things, whenever you have a problem with your router or your parents have a problem with the router, instead of the parents fixing it, they're going to their 10 or 12-year-old kid like, hey, how do you fix this? Or how do I set up a Facebook account? Or how do I, these are millennials who have, I don't want to say I would say we were the pioneers of social media. And not that we created it, but once that landscape was created, we're the first to go out and inhabit it. So we're the pioneers of social media.
Yeah, and the great thing is that like when you and I get in trouble on the internet, what I tend to do, I tend to get like, I understand. I'm like, okay, I can't do that. But like our parents or somebody like a couple years older get like, what the hell's that? I'm like, no, it's social media, guys.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, well, then stuff my face. No. And then what I love the most is when somebody will comment on like a national thread. Like just go like CNN. And there'll be a comment, and somebody will go and comment. You're like, why are you commenting on that? It has no effect on you. You're like, well, it's on my face because you like the page. You get information from the social media on whatever you follow. That's what people need to understand, which we do. I guess, what? Millennials, the early millennials, how long does millennial go for? Is that from 82 to
82
to 89?
No. I think it's like 82 to like 95-ish, somewhere in that.
Oh, let's peel back the digits on that. That's a 15-year gap.
That's about a generation. I mean, it's I can Google it right now. I'm sort of trying to recall.
We should have generations. Like there's 7 years between my sister and I. That to me is a generational gap. Because those guys
I think your sister is still a millennial as well. I would still say she's a millennial. 81 to 96 is what the first result is saying. I mean, everybody, the thing is there's no hard and fast rule, right? You're going to get every magazine, every publication, every writer, every person that you ask is going to have a different slightly. That's why I said I'm border Gen X, millennial. You would be pretty.
I'm on the border too.
Yeah,
I understand. But coming closer to the end of that in the 90s, those kids are a little bit of soft and babyish.
But these are like 96 on 90. For me, I would just say 80 to 95. Let's keep it even, like 15 block. Keep it that's nice and clean cut. From 95 on, I mean, you were 5 years old in the millennium. You're probably not even going to really remember the millennium. So you didn't have to deal with the pressures of Y2K.
That's it, right? Or the kids now that are in high school, right? Mm-hmm. Or the kids now who are legal drinking age don't know September 11th is a historical fact.